part 2 of how I got Baker acted here in Florida last night. Unjustly. So we left off at the part where I was out talking to the cops after my mom had called the cops on me and wanted to Baker act me, but she was extremely inebriated and drunk. She had no idea what she was doing. So because I got upset because I was stressed out and she kept bothering me. And so that was another thing that I learned during this experience, is that my parents have actually always treated me and my sister this way when we have any type of emotional reaction whatsoever, especially if it's a more kind of visceral one, we're just having a bad day and we're angry and we're crying. Actually, my sister did get hospitalized several times in high school because of that exact thing, and I actually texted her today after this whole situation, and there's a lot to that I'm going to get into here. This might be a 10-part series, honestly, because this made me go through so many cycles at one time. It was crazy. So it was hard, obviously, to talk to the cops and tell them all this stuff. And so the other cop who's inside talking to my mom, who is clearly drunk. So that's the other thing that really upset me about this situation, is that the cops took my mom's words over mine when I was clearly the rational, sober one, and she wasn't. And you could just tell just by her speech alone. But obviously it looked bad because when they walked in, I was screaming at her. But I tried to explain this. It didn't matter. The other guy comes out and he's like, your mom just told us that you threatened suicide. So, did you? And I was first of all, that's not how you approach this situation. You don't have to act so I don't know, weird about it. You know what I'm saying? And so I was just I did not do that. I literally told him I'm actually working on that right now. If you'd really like to know, I'm working on regulating my emotions, and the whole reason this whole debacle went down is because out of the 500 nights I've been with my mother, this is the first time I've emotionally dysregulated while she's inebriated and she gets drunk every single night, and this is what I have to deal with. And of course that didn't matter. So the guy's we're placing you under arrest. It's the Baker Act in Florida. So they, handcuff me. I'm oh my God, this is literally insane that I'm getting detained right now because my mother is a drunk psychopath. So she gets me unjustly Baker fucking acted and have to go through this entire dramatic situation. So I get handcuffed, the neighbors are watching, all in front of, I'm oh my God, this is literally insane. There's 5 squad cars, but the thing is right when well, first of all, I literally was I don't want to get Baker acted because I don't have health insurance. So it's do I have to pay for this? Cause you go to a hospital. And also, I was I fucking hate needles. So I was am I gonna have to get my blood drawn or urine? And they were no. Liars. They're liars. I'll get into that. So anyway, I did have to fucking get my blood drawn, all that stuff, against my will. So, and that's my least favorite thing in the entire world. I'm very sensitive to pain because I'm autistic. And actually, God told me the reason why he made me so sensitive to pain was so I did not off myself, because that was the number one reason that always stopped me my entire life, because I've, struggled with those thoughts my entire life. It was the pain I was going to feel, even though that's not a logical thought, because I know it would be temporary. But literally, I'm so sensitive to physical pain that I was never willing to face the actual physical pain of it, because no matter what I did, I knew it was going to be painful. And, I couldn't guarantee stuff with pills and stuff like that to not because then I started to go into well, what if I aspirate so anyway, sorry guys, this is literally my life. This is what I've thought my entire life and all that stuff. So it's crazy that I got Baker acted now when it out of all the time. So again, it's I'm in a state of testing and lessons with God. I've had now 4 asthma attacks. I had an asthma attack while I was there. I'll get into that as well. In the last 4 weeks, and I now know it's directly related to stress in my environment here after last night. So they handcuff me and they get me in the squad car and they have it behind my back and it's really tight on my wrist. And I'm Okay, like there was a part of me that like obviously understood, because the first thoughts that went through my head were like, it's like insane that like cops show up to these types of places and like they have to maybe potentially always think that somebody is going to harm them with a weapon. Because that's like all they cared about. And all they kept asking, obviously, was like, do I have a weapon on me? Do I have anything that can harm them? I was like, holy shit, like, it's insane that you immediately show up to these circumstances and that's like the first thing on your mind, because obviously that happens to them and stuff like that. And so it's weird. I've always been anti-police, but like I this situation helped me find a little bit of duality with police officers, which was different from my last experience, because the last time I had to interact with cops, well, they like lied and coerced and manipulated me into things that I should not have done legally, and because I didn't know my rights and stuff. And then that's like why my whole life got fucked up. If I just knew my rights, I could have like denied them a lot of stuff, because you can like deny a breathalyzer, you can deny a search in your car, you can deny all that stuff, but they like lied to me and they said I couldn't deny the breathalyzer, and also like I had to have the car search because they were going to take my license away for longer if I didn't. So they like, coerced and manipulated me into the car search, and that's when they found things. And so I have not had a good experience with cops. Also, like, I've had a lot of cop interactions with actually in my own relationship, we got the cops called on us one time, my last relationship, and that was a traumatic experience. And then my friend was in a domestic violence relationship, and so I dealt with the cops a lot with her in that relationship. So I've actually had a lot of interactions with cops in a very negative way, and also obviously what they're doing around the country. But again, we've known about this since the Stanford prison experiment. So it's literally insane that like all these years just went by and there was no regulations for cops. And in fact, like, so that's how you know, again, like the system knows what it's doing. There's evidence all around us that the system knows exactly what it's doing, and it's actually working exactly as it is designed to. And so what does that mean? That's the question we're left with once we have the awareness of this. And I'm going to get into that too, because I also realized why I had not ever gone on a psychiatric hold or in a psych ward before this time, because it was soul crushing to be in there, and I want to get into that. So back to the story. I'm going to go on a lot of tangents and things like that. That's how I am, guys. I have to sit in this cop car for like a half hour because they have to call a woman to come pat me down. Like, that's how it goes, I guess, or something like that. And so as I'm sitting there, like, you can hear like all the crazy calls come in. So I live in Florida in Volusia County. And so Volusia County is like a really big county, but there is a lot of crime that goes on in Volusia County. And I used to live in Illinois in a county called Kane County. And there was like very little to no crime in the whole county. There was a section of it that started to get a little hairy called DeKalb, like way later on. But for the most part, when I grew up, like in another section, there was like a couple sections that were hairy, I would say. But I do feel like here in Florida, in Volusia County, it's a different level. Like Florida people are interesting. There's a lot of bizarre things that go on. So I'm like, I saw this like video the other day of a lady talking about how Florida is like a fae trap, and I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but I definitely know there's like some weird juju around the state of Florida. But I also know there's like beautiful energy around it, because I get a lot of past life Lemuria stuff from it when I go to like the beaches and stuff, and I really love the state of Florida. But it's like it does something to the people here. I don't think we're meant to like be in paradise all the time, to be completely honest with you. I don't think that's actually healthy for us at all, for our mental state. I think it like does something to you. Like, I do think there is something beautiful to contrast, and like, I don't know, that's just like where I'm at with like living in places and stuff. Like, I wish I could just live here like as a snowbird, like March, April, May, because those are like the most beautiful months, and like that's all you need. So anyway, that's a side tangent. So here we go. I'm going on side tangents. So, okay, I'm going to go into a part 3.